Hi, everyone. Dr. Dieu Hack-Polay is with us today. Dr. Dieu is part of our Journey Church family, and he's also a professor at Crandall University. And today is African Heritage Month, and so we're going to ask Dr. Dieu some questions in light of this very special month. Now, as a professor, you normally give students to answer questions, but today I'm giving you some questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You're ready.
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right, well, let's start with the first question. What is the purpose of African Heritage Month?
I think for me, African Heritage Month is the biggest celebration of human dignity we can have in the world. Coming from slavery and enslavement, black people or African people have really come up with a victory over oppression, and that is worth celebrating. But it's also, for me, coming together as a God's family, where we have no more black or white, slave or free, and we are all part of the family of Jesus Christ.
I remember Dr. Leonard Anderson once said, "Don't tolerate me, celebrate me." And I think that's such a wonderful words to think about. You know, sometimes we hear from people in Atlantic Canada that say that we don't have a racism problem here. How do you respond to that?
I think that's possibly a fallacy, because where human groups come together, there are always problems. Where people have not encountered each other before, there are always problems. So, for example, over here in Moncton and Atlantic Canada, a lot of minorities, and particularly black people, African people, have a charge against the locals sometimes for being handed over the worst jobs, for example, the lack of promotion in the workplaces, and sometimes some negative remarks on the streets or in some shops and these sort of things. So we have our own problems that needs dealing with in terms of equality of opportunities.
Okay. Is it enough to be non-racist, or do we also have to be anti-racist?
I think the best answer to this will take me to Roman, the book of Romans, chapter 1, verse 27 to 29. Where Paul says that people have known the truth, but despite that, they've done what was against God's laws. So therefore, for these reasons, God has given them up to a reprobate mind. So this means that we can't just sit and say, yeah, this is, I'm not a racist. But we have to be proactive in terms of resolving that and taking action towards that. And taking action means that we are taking vigorous steps to eradicate that. And if I give another example, the Archbishop Desmond Tutu from South Africa, he once said that in terms of justice, if you know the truth and you stay silent, then you are on the side of the oppressor. So therefore, if we don't do anything at all, and we just say we are non-racist, then we are contributing to maintain the status quo.
Dr. Martin Luther King once said, "We must learn to live together as brothers or perish as fools." How can not just Africans, but people of all races live together in unity?
Right. I think that's an important question. That's a very, very important question. With globalization, with people coming together, I think our welfare as a people depends on one another. So peace and stability in one place or in one group is contingent upon other people behaving a certain way. So therefore, coming together as a God family is probably an important view of things to take as opposed to the isolated position that we used to take. And if we go back to the scripture itself, God created one human being, and every human being descended from that one set of people that God created, Adam and Eve. So that again shows that we are all part of the same family, and there's no differentiation. And even scientists who tend to be atheists or deny God's work tend to recognize that we all came from one line, coming from Africa and spreading across the globe and these sort of things. So I think that's the unity of the human race that we are seeking, and not the divisions.
May we be one. Well, thank you, Dr. Du, for being a voice during this African Heritage Month.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.